luxury to go, let me see, right hand, left hand. If you look at him the wrong way, he might get nervous, shoot you, no good. You don't choose where you're going, you just do the same technique and adapt yourself as you go. Hey man, whatever you want. Get on the floor, right now, get on the floor. Again. Hey man, whatever you want. Get on the floor, right now. Okay, now Chris is going to pull the gun and put it to the side of my body. Again, there's going to be two scenarios here. One that it's in front of the elbow and the second one behind the elbow. Two different scenarios, two different counterattacks. Same thing happens here. The primary danger is the line of fire. I am going to sidestep and get out of the line of fire. The same thing I did upstairs. As I do so, I'm going to have to control the weapon. I'm going to do so by holding the wrist and the barrel by underneath the trigger guard. Again, don't go by the barrel. Right here. Okay, again, hey man, whatever you want. Here, do not raise your hand and then you're going to make him nervous and bump the gun and he's going to shoot you. All you do, hey man, whatever you want. And you're coming here. As soon as you got this established, pay attention. I am going to step in, rip in. From here, hit him with the barrel, pull out, rack the gun, tell him to get on the floor. Again, one will be right here, whatever you want. Two, from here, step in so you have leverage, hit him with the barrel, pull out, rack the gun, tell him to get on the floor. It is super important here that you step in. In other words, don't go here and try to yank here, because right now, if you try to do this and he yanks back, he's got the leverage and he's going to shoot you. If right now Chris yank back, and I step in, I jammed it, and I can hit him with that barrel, and I troubleshoot him yanking backward. Again, I'm here. 1, 2. When you step in, make sure it's right here. As you step in, you yank the gun and point it at him. Hit with it and rip straight out. Don't start yanking the gun. Straight out like a piston. Now the gun is in my hand. Rack it. Tell him to get on the floor. Hey man, whatever you want. Get on the floor. Get on the floor. Again. Hey man, whatever you want. Get on the floor. Right now. All right, this time, Chris has the gun behind my elbow. In other words, if I try to move over here, he's just going to shoot me. In other words, I'm going to have to change the tactic again. All right, from here, first thing I'm going to do is comply. Again, don't bring your hand up here. It's very important, because then you're going to turn and wrap from up above, and that's a tactical mistake. You're going to need to wrap from underneath. Therefore, same thing as before, have your hands down, whatever you want. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn to get out of line of fire, and I'm going to step in to pass the gun. Okay, if you simply turn, you're going to turn into the gun. Make sure you turn and step in. As I do so, I'm going to wrap underneath. I'm going to wrap underneath. Try to get as close as possible to the elbow. Don't go by the wrist. If you go by the wrist and he yank out, he's out. Try to control by the elbow. Again, 1, 2. As I do so, again, here comes the shot to the elbow. That is all done simultaneously as one motion. So I got 1, 2. From here, knee to the groin, push him off balance. Reach over. You put your thumb on the slide, break it 90 degrees. Rip the gun out, hit him in with the elbow, rack the gun, tell him to get on the floor. Again. Hey man, whatever you want. Hit. Knee, push him off balance. Break his finger, rip out the gun, elbow, rack the gun, tell him to get on the floor. One time on this side, please. Again, whatever you want. Step in elbow, knee, step through. I'm coming right here. Make sure you put your thumb right here. Don't do this. If you did this, it becomes a struggle. I want the thumb here and the finger here, and you're going to yank 90 degrees as one motion, breaking his finger. From here, I'm going to rip the gun, punching it out here without no struggle. Elbow, step out, rack the gun, and tell him to get on the floor. Hey man, whatever you want. Get on the floor, right now. Good. Don't block the elbow. Hey man, whatever you want. Get on the floor. On the floor! Hey man, whatever you want. Get on the floor, right now. All right, now we're going to deal with the gun disarm that comes from the rear. In other words, Chris puts the gun to the middle of my back. Again, I don't know which hand it is. I certainly am not going to look which hand it's going to be, because every time I give him the corner of my eye, it looks provocative and it might trigger him into shooting me. The first thing I'm going to do is comply. Again, I am not bringing my hands up. If I bring my hands up, he might take this as a challenge and shoot me. I'm just complying. Amen, whatever you want. From here, I'm going to turn out of the line of fire, which is my primary danger, again, by simply stepping and turning. This will get me out of the line of fire. As I do so, I'm going to wrap from underneath. Again, whatever you want, turn, wrap from underneath. Again, whatever you want, turn, wrap from underneath. If you get it on the other angle, please. Amen. Whatever you want, turn. Right now, as you can see, I'm out of the line of fire. That gun will discharge now, but I won't get a shot. And I'm coming underneath. Again, try to be as close as possible to the elbow versus coming to the wrist. This also will force you to step in. If you simply turn, then maybe you're just going to turn into the gun. Make sure you step in so you clear the gun and you can elbow as well. Here comes the elbow. Again, amen, whatever you want, turn. At the same motion comes the elbow. From here, knee, and step through. Keep him off balance. Right now, he's thinking, oh my God, I'm off balance. And hold on to him. From here, I'm coming to the gun. Again, thumb goes on the slide. Break 90 degree, break his finger, straight out, rip it out. Elbow, pull out. Rack the gun, and tell him to get on the floor. Again, you got one here, two here. Knee, and step through. Make sure you contain him. Don't do this. Don't go one and hit him and let him fly, because just like it sounds, he flew back and he can shoot you now. Again, it's here, here, and here. Break the finger. Out we go. Elbow, rack it, tell him to get on the floor. Amen. Whatever you want. Get on the floor. On the floor. Again. Amen. Whatever you want. Get on the floor. On the floor. Again, Chris is coming from the rear. Now, if he comes to my head or to the body, go back to the body, Chris. If he comes to the head or to the body, go back to the head. It's the same disarm. It's the same disarm. In other words, I treat it the same way. If he's right hand or the left hand, I don't know so. In other words, from here, I turn into it. If he's got the gun in the other hand, put the gun in the other hand, and he threatens me, it's the same disarm, just I'll have to adapt to it. The only time I choose where to turn if he puts the gun to my back and he holds my shirt with the other hand. Then I can't turn over here because that is restricting me. Therefore, on this one, I will be forced to turn to this side with the same exact technique. Okay, so only if he restrains me with one hand, I'm going to go to the other side. If it doesn't, I treat right hand, left hand, two hand, gun, shotgun, assault rifle the same way, because I really don't know what's behind me. I'm just feeling a firearm digging into either my back or my head and give me a threat. I do the same technique regardless of the variation, unless he holds me with one hand. When he holds me one hand, he tells me in which hand he's got the gun, and therefore I will go wherever it's less restricted. Okay, now I'm going to deal with an attacker that comes from behind and sees me completely into what I call a hostage scenario. This is going to be a completely different dynamic in the sense of he's going to wrap his hand around me. Chris wraps his hand around me and puts that gun right into my forehead. Again, my primary danger now is the line of fire. However, I'm not going to be able to move or turn anywhere out of the line of fire because he has seized me. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do again is I'm going to comply and raise my hands. As I raise my hands, what I'm doing is I'm getting my hand closer to the gun, since I'm going to have to basically seize the gun because I can't turn out of the line of fire. Anytime I turn now, I'm going to get shot anyway. So one will be here. Number two will be seize the gun and turn it out. Okay, I'm going to go one time slow, pay attention. I'm coming one here, turn the gun out. That will be do so by me putting my thumb by the trigger dot, seizing and turning it. Now you're going to have to practice this, but as soon as you got it, it'll be fast enough. Now at this point, the gun got discharged, and the gun is very close to both of us, but I was ready for it, he wasn't. That's what short circuits his thought right now. From here, I'm going to squeeze out and hit him in the groin. This will short circuit him downstairs. From here, I come out the back door, and I'm pointing down the gun. Make sure you don't point it at you, still out of the line of fire. From here, I'm going to hit the plea right here. And as I hit, I'm going to step back. And I disarm him, rack it up, and tell him to get on the floor. Again, I'm right here. First thing, hey man, whatever you want. Two will be here, gun got discharged. This is what short circuits his thought. This is what short circuits him physically by hitting him in the groin. I come out the back door. From here, hit and yank out. In case you have a struggle here and you can do it, kick him in the leg, out we go, and you'll still be out. As soon as you reach this point, it's important that you pull down and out. Don't pull it to you. If you pull it to you and you're dealing with a professional, even if the gun is jammed right now, he'll involve that hand to unjam the gun and unload it on your leg. Make sure it's still out of the line of fire as far as your leg is concerned. Now when I go to hit here, don't do it like this, because if it slips out, you did not accomplish nothing by it. You're going to hit with the wedge of your hand. As you hit, you're going to yank. As you yank, you're going to pull that leg out. So you have three actions against one hand. You got one here, two here, and the ledge over your leg. That will make him let go. And rack the gun, and down we go. Hey man, whatever you want. Get on the floor. On the floor now. Again. Hey man, whatever you want. On the floor. On the floor. The Haganah system pulls its resource from the IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces. Originally, all the techniques you are learning in the system came out of the battlefield, and the weapons were different. Systematically, in an army setup, the first line of defense is the Air Force. Second line of defense will be the artillery. Then you got the army, which is the tanks, and only then comes the foot soldier. So the progression on the battlefield is actually the other way. However, the resource and where it came from comes from the battlefield. This is where the Haganah system will give you a system that you can trust. And when people can trust the system, the confidence level rises to begin with. All right, so originally the scenario was that the assault rifle was coming from the rear. Again, number one will be, I'm going to act like I'm complying. From here, two remains the same thing. It is very important here that you realize that is why we come from underneath the weapon and not from over the top, because when I come from over the top, I have no control of the weapon. When I come from underneath, what will happen is I'm wrapping that weapon real good. From here comes the elbow, step in, give him a knee, and push him off balance. From here, I'm going to grab that barrel and shove it right on top of him and rip it out, and I contain the scene. Again. 1 will be here. 2, knee him, step through. Hit him with it, come out, and here we go. The next segment is going to deal with a third-party gun disarm. A third-party gun disarm usually is talking about the issue of abduction, hostage. Basically, you will defend somebody that's been attacked by the assailant. There's a few levels to this. There is the level that you will be negotiating in the process. There's the level that you'll come from an angle that they don't expect it. This specific one will be that I'm coming from the rear. Now, if it's a hostage situation and law enforcement is involved, this is not going to be done by only one operator. In other words, there will be a negotiator, there will be a sniper set up, this and that. Right now, I'm dealing that I am the only one on the scene. In other words, either I'm the first one that got dispatched on the scene, or either this is a civilian situation that somebody grabbed a loved one of mine and I need to defend them. Chris is going to grab Candice from the back and put the gun up here. Now again, if Chris wanted to shoot Candice, he would already done that. Therefore, there's a demand. All right. At this specific technique, I'm going to come from an angle. Okay. Me coming from an angle, I'm basically not letting know Candice or Chris that I'm going to intervene. In other words, there is no anticipation on their side. I'm coming from an angle, and what I'm going to do is the problem here and the primary danger is the line of fire to Candice's head. I am going to redirect the line of fire. Since Candice doesn't know I'm going to do something, I cannot cue and say, Candice, move out of the line of fire. That will trigger Chris as well at shooting her. Therefore, I'm going to have to redirect the line of fire versus make Candice move out of the line of fire. So I'm coming here, and all I'm going to do is I am going to shoot my hand and turn the gun into Chris. Okay? Again, I'm going to shoot my hand and automatically or directly turn the gun into Chris. When I do so, I'm going to dig that gun as strong as I can, either in the collarbone or in his chest. So that will short circuit him into becoming victimized or thinking defensive wise. So again, I'm coming, I am shooting, and right away, right here, all right, from here, I'm going to have to disconnect Chris from Candice. That will be done by pushing on his kidney pressure point from the rear with my knuckles. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to press here and keep shoving here. So in case Chris pulls the trigger, he actually pulls the trigger on himself. And from here, I'm going to simply shove down and take Chris down. From here, gun will be in my possession, and right there, I got the threat taken care of. Again, Candice, please. All right, so again, I'm coming in here, shooting in, straight in. From here, take down and disarm, and I take it over. Now, because of the nature of the encounter, Chris might get shot. Okay, that's a given because I'm turning the gun into him. This third party, the stakes are higher, and the gun might discharge on him. That's just part of the technique. As far as the rear part of it, you're going to put your knuckles, dig into him, and push the gun, use the muzzle of the gun, and you're going to arch him. So right now, if you pay attention, he's on his heels. As he's on his heels, I'm going to start driving straight down with the gun, like a piston, straight down. And from here, the pain will either let him let go of the gun, or you'll have to hit him one time, and now the gun is completely in your possession.
This bus is mine! I can't believe! Everybody ride it! Drive the bus! Keep driving the bus! Get down! Get down! Get down! Stop the bus! Stop the bus! Stop the bus! Stop the bus! How do we go? Everybody out! Everybody out! Everybody out! Out the bus! On the ground! On the ground! On the ground! On the floor! Get on the floor! Don't move!